So we are to present the results of another new IOL, which is based on the new hydrophobic material. We have just heard one excellent presentation about a pentafocal IOL. This is more the monofocal IOL with the extended depth of focus to a certain extent. But before we go in depth into this particular IOL, I just would like to make a comment. In Europe and many other areas, hydrophobic acrylic is becoming the material of choice, first choice. There are multiple reasons why this material is getting more and more popular. But having said that, hydrophilic material still have some unique, perfect properties. And we might see the shift in the development. So I think both materials have their unique, good features. And even the silicone material is very good material for IOL implants. Maybe you have noticed that light adjustable lens in the US is extremely popular and on the rise. So I don't think it's wise to stick with one material only and say this is the only material, all the other materials are outdated or just ruled out. So keep that in mind, but definitely the hydrophobic materials are just, on the rise. So here we are going to present the first Hanita Extend IOL clinical experience. This IOL comes in optical range from 10 to 30 in 0.1, 0.5 diopters increments. That's pretty usual. Cylinder 1 to 3. And it's a approved material which is glistening-free with UV blockers and nature yellow. I really like that, pale tint. I don't really like yellows to be too yellow or orange. I really like that. And it does filter the violet light, light. It comes in both preloaded and standard versions, so you can make your choice. And again, there are markets which prefer the preloaded versions and market which prefers the standard version. I myself and on our clinics where we perform 50,000 implantations annually, we do prefer the standard solution, because while I do my phacoemulsification, my nurse loads the IOL and I see no reason to pay for the preloaded versions. But again, there are strictly preferable markets for preloaded. So make your choice, and it's good company offers both possibilities. And a nice and good feature is that this implant can be implanted through 2.2 or even smaller incision. A constant, of course, is going to be verified on thousands of implantations and fine-tuned to fit latest generations, AI formulas, whatever, but we have it there. The design, how they design it, for the years we tried to avoid higher order aberrations. Now we are at a different stage that on purpose we try to use some of the higher order aberrations. So it goes, against each other. But still, if you control and if you use higher order aberrations wise, the extension of the focus might be very useful, and that's a lot of effort in this lens category, which even just pushed the ESCRS, which I am a current treasurer, to revise and create new functional IOL classification. So you will hear more about the new classification, like EDOF is obsolete. Even monofocal is obsolete. So we are coming with a new classification. But anyhow, this is a lens which extends the depth of focus. They did a great job in Hanita, the engineering behind that. It's super sophisticated, and it's based on Bessel-beam generation function. Of course, we all know what it is. We all can use this computation in daily life. We have no clue, correct? But they know what they do and they achieve. Our role is to select the proper implant for a proper patient and assess the clinical outcome, okay? And we learn through that, and then the whole field of IOLs is developing, and we are all refining our indications for a daily use of these IOLs. So we have another design here, which actually I think is very nice and works fine. And so forget about all the calculations. You can read about them. ChatGPT can explain a little more, but I have still my doubts to what extent we can understand it, but we can use it. What is important in a pupil diameter larger than 3.5, there is an aspheric surface optimization, which directs most of the light to the far vision. So it's kind of, in other words, distance dominant lens. Yeah. So we can name it different. So that's the basic outline, and you get this elongated, focus, which transcripts in a little bit more freedom what to see without glasses, reading glasses or near glasses or intermediate glasses. These lenses, in fact, do not promise reading with no glasses unless you aim for mini monovision or something, but just a little bit of extension of the focus, which can be very useful. We have a limited experience on the first 29 patients, which were implanted during this summer after the lens was released. And we have 30 eyes with at least 1 month's data for analysis, which are presented right here. Median age 73, so rather old patients. Standard cataract population. This is not refractive lens exchange. 18 male, 11 females. And you see an overview of IOL master data. So kind of, usual entry data and population. I have a video for you showing how we handle this lens. And a part of that video, which might surprise you a little bit, it's a capsule laser capsulotomy. I'm a laser guy for cataract surgery. I did the first Victus femtosecond laser cataract surgery in Europe back in 2012. And we do 50,000 surgeries at our clinics annually. 90 or over 90% of my personal cataract surgery is laser-assisted cataract surgery. But having said that, during the last 2-3 years, I almost completely walked away from femtosecond laser, and I use this capsule laser on daily basis because it provides a very reliable, well-centered capsulotomy. So that's the first part, and then you see the implantation of this new hydrophobic lens with extended depth of focus. So let's run the video, and that's it. So for capsule laser to interact and cut the capsula, we need to stain the capsule with trypan blue, and we actually have a dedicated trypan blue, which we call capsule blue. I injected low and slow method just to get most of the dye on the posterior capsule. Then I tap a little bit the cornea to help the spread, and then we get the dye out after about 45 to 1 minute time, and that creates a darker spot in the middle, in the center, which we discovered and published at our clinics, and which we call center triple landmark. So we fill the entire chamber with high optical quality OVD. You see that dark spot, which serves as a centration landmark. We started, and that's a fraction of a second, 0.25 of seconds. You get your capsulotomy, which can be just, the center capsula aspirated. No need to manipulate it with any kind of forceps. You just aspirate it, and you keep on going with your phacoemulsification to clear the lens. That's the usual job. You split the lens, you do your phaco chop, whatever you like to do, and we just phaco aspirate the hard material and then the remaining softer material. I use the Stellaris PC device, which has a feature of dual linear foot switch. And you see that dark rim of that capsulotomy. That's another safety feature, the visualization. The next day after the surgery, the dark blue is not there, but during the surgery, that enhances the visibility of capsulotomy, which is additional safety feature. So we have aspirated the cortex material, cleaned the posterior capsula, and here comes the lens in the package. Again, you can have, with a usual lens only for usual cartridge or preloaded solution. You can get it out. It's a hydrophobic lens, and then we are going to inject it through this system, and it comes through the 2.2 millimeter incision inside of the eye, and you see how it slowly unfolds, and we get the lens inside, just push it into the bag, and that's it. So the lens, is there, and you can aspirate the remnants of OVD, which are always a little bit there, but we use very little OVD for implantation. That was a wound-assisted implantation, and I like to inject transzonulary a mixture of triamcinolone, anti-VEGF, and cefuroxime for my bilateral cases to lower the risk of CME or endophthalmitis, because these are the bilateral cases. And you see the perfect overlap of this blue capsulotomy and IOL optic. So that's capsule laser and Hanita hydrophobic extend IOL, which I believe fits together because both are high technology and I like to use them for my patients, and I'm really happy that the company provides this option at the moment. So let's have a look at the first clinical results. We don't have long-term results yet. That's a totally new lens. So 1 month results on 34 eyes. And if you look at refraction, so despite these are the first implantations, I think we are within a quarter of diopter, a little bit on myopic side, on the safe side, so the patients should be quite happy about that. And you see also the histogram of manifest refractive sphere after the implantation. I think we were pretty accurate. So the estimated A constant provided by the company was very on target, which is not always the place, not always the fact. And from some other companies, we have faced some really, numbers which were not in reality right. So here we had no issues, no problems. And regarding the visual acuities, you see distance intermediate than 80 and 66 centimeters. We do not assess reading because this lens is not intended, and we didn't employ monovision here. And you see quite nice uncorrected and corrected visual acuities. The scale is in log bars, so we were happy about that. And if you look at the monocular intermediate, monocular distance cumulative visual acuities, all eyes achieved, corrected distance visual acuities 0.2 log bar. That's a high standard. Nowadays 0.2 log bar, that's considered to be kind of perfect vision, while 71 attained uncorrected distance visual acuity of 0.2 log bar. So quite a good for the first implants, correct? And if we look at the monocular intermediate visual acuity is at 80 centimeters, again the majority of eyes achieve 0.3 log bar, so it's a bit one line lower. It's intermediate with kind of extended monofocal IOL, so I think that's fine, and both uncorrected and distance corrected visual acuities were there within that. So we have at 66 centimeters, even closer, still 2/3 of eyes with 0.3 log bar in both uncorrected and distance corrected visual acuities. Well, I think that lens is promising, not any kind of pentafocal IOL, but a little bit of extension, which can give the benefit. And we need, of course, as you usually hear, more patients and longer follow-up. That's it. But it's good to hear the first information. Defocus curve, we managed to get the defocus curve. I think it's also quite rewarding. 0.3 log bar around minus 1.3 diopters divergence, indicating functional vision up to 77 centimeters. So that's, definitely the intermediate distance. So in conclusion, this Extend C lens provides a good, accurate refraction predictability, and there is very likely no need to really adjust the A constant. It will be refined in, really a small amount with the large numbers of implantations, but we are there. The lens has a clear glistening-free material, and I think that's a great fundamental nowadays, because at least in my countries, we have seen hundreds of IOLs which got opacified from some, it's a well-known issue, so we don't want to deal with that. That's a nightmare. Fortunately, at our clinics, we didn't have that choice of these manufacturers, but here I have no doubts. So that's very good, and the distance and functional vision for intermediate seems to be very promising, so keep an eye on this lens. I encourage you to get the first experience, and this Extend performs similarly as some other already on the market monofocal plus IOLs, and we'll see. And I'm looking to hear your experience at the next ESCRS meeting. It's winter meeting in Finland or then in London next year. Thank you for your attention. And I'm open for questions, so just get the earphones. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Not everybody at once. Okay.
Thank you.
We were curious, so not about the lens, but about the basic.
Okay, good.
Aesthetics, we all have Do you think it's better than femto? It takes less time and it's
Okay, thanks for the question. Unlike femto, no fragmentation and no incisions. Incisions, I don't care. Even with the femto, I didn't use my femto for incisions because they were kind of terrible. But fragmentation is nice. This laser only provides capsulotomy. That capsulotomy, number one, is stronger than femto. It's probably very likely even stronger than manual or about equivalent. And the centration, in my experience with any of my femto platforms, and we have Victus, Z8, and we have another, what do we have we have these two, which are the most common at our clinics. And in neither of them you can be that precise in centration. That center trypan landmark in the middle is really reliable. We publish that in 94% of patients over 50, if you stay with 45 to 1 minute, you get it. You aim on it, and then you see near perfect centration. The data are published, and it's so straightforward. You don't need 2 operating rooms. You don't need to swivel your patients in between 2 workstations. You just put the patient there instead of manual, which is nice. Manual, you can have it done in 30 seconds. Here you spend like 2 minutes because about 1 minute staining and then fraction. You need to focus whatever, and the fraction of second it's done. So it's about the same time, same workflow, and you can sell it to the patients as laser cataract surgery. Patients understand it. They understand your preference. They understand the precision. And even if you all are the best surgeons in the world, there is no way your capsulorhexis is as perfectly round, as perfectly centered as this one. So it's clearly my preference. I kind of completely walked away from my femtoseconds lasers. I still have them. We built a dedicated OR for them with a very huge AC because you need to maintain the temperature and humidity, whatever. We have several of them. This is my choice now. And they have a booth here, but I don't want to do too much work for the company outside of this booth, because these are the great people who provide the great lenses. Yeah. So you have a question regarding the lens. Okay.
And regarding the lens, I saw it too, like red image low inside the eye because of the hydrophobics, like the behavior. Do you wait some time?
Okay, so number one, if you use implantation in the OVD, Visco, that lens opens quite nice. Yes, it's slower compared to most of the hydrophilic acrylic which open. The silicone bump, so they are hydrophilic just fine. For hydrophobic, we need to wait a little bit. It's even slower in my videos because I use no OVD for implantations. That's just the irrigation cannula. Okay, that it takes a little longer because my fluid is cold or whatever, but it does open. If it does not open completely, you push a little bit, with your irrigating cannula, the haptic, and it's, I would say, no issue. So that's not a something which would kind of disturb you as a surgeon. So that's straightforward. And then it's reliably centered, and I kind of like it, and there is no issue. There are much worse hydrophobic IOLs which really stick together, do not open. Even if you push with both or pull with both your cannulas, they stick together. So then you suffer. This is not typically the case. Some surgeons with certain lenses, they warm up the lenses a little bit to go around these issues, whatever. But we don't suffer with that. Good. And that's about that. And I think that fits to the strategy to sell it to the patients as a laser cataract surgery with high-end IOL, and the patients who are not suitable or do not want the pentafocal IOL. I think that's a very good option, and we have a lot of patients like that. And actually, what I see in the statistics, these M+ or EDOF lenses, whatever we call them, are gaining popularity, and they squeeze in between the monofocal and trifocal or pentafocal. So we are going to see more and more results.